At the beginning of being a teenager, this is a scientific fact. Part of their brain shuts down because of too much hormones. So part of the brain shuts down, so they really make stupid decisions. This is the honest to goodness truth. They have the stupidest logic in the world. What do you think the way it was back in the old days? How do you think it was back in the old days? Let's discuss that, okay? Long time ago. You have to remember, in our ancient world, we didn't have McDonald's, we didn't have Coca-Cola, we didn't have chocolate candy bars, we didn't have alcohol, we didn't have beer, we didn't have potato chips, French fries, we didn't have any of that. Now, I'm talking about Lakota ancestors. The fact is, Indians on the California coastline, they did have beer. They figured out a way to, I can't remember what plant they used, but they figured out how to ferment it and do other stuff to it, and they transformed it into a beer. So there was beer here. Before white people came here, there was beer. No kidding. A lot of Indians like to say, "Yeah, the white man brought us alcohol and stole everything." And they brought us beer and whiskey and got us drunk and addicted and stole everything. That's not entirely true. I mean, yes, that did happen, but it happened in other ways too. It wasn't just because of alcohol. What I wanted to say was that there were Indians who used the plant to make a beer. No kidding. And then you go to the Indians in Central America, South America, and you have Indians there who are using a plant as a drug. We were not a drug-free world, okay? I don't think that's ever existed. Maybe in the very beginning, but anyway, among Lakota people, we didn't have these things that really junk up our bodies. We knew how to work duality. In our ancestral past, we knew how to work duality because we were emotionally developed in our ancient past. The other thing is we didn't have all these unhealthy foods that we have today. These fast foods and these fatty foods and these Coca-Cola and all these sugar drinks and chocolates and cakes and donuts and all that sinfully delicious stuff. We didn't have that. But we did have sweet things. Yeah? We had something called wojapi, which is really good when you eat the traditional style. Wojapi is made out of choke cherries. I think that's only grows in North America, I think. For you Europeans, Johannisbeeren tastes similar. That's what I find. Johannisbeeren tastes a little bit. It tastes pretty close to a choke cherry. And we also had buffalo berries too. Buffalo berry wojapi is really good too. Yeah, that's right. And plum wojapi made out of plums. What it is you pick the cherries, and usually they people had a stone bowl for this, and they used a stone, and then you just smash it, all of it together, seeds and all. Smash all of that. I have to remember I have grapes. I bought some Spanish grapes today. I opened up and they were all saying, "Ole!" I'm just kidding. Shit. Off guy. I have to remember that though, because sometimes I have the tendency to, hey, where's my Milka bar at? Yeah, so I have to remember, got to eat healthy here. So we didn't have all these foods today that really clunk up the body, make us into walking sofa chairs, basically. Yeah. When you have this as part of the equation in living, that really makes a big difference. Oh, I was talking about wojapi. Let me complete that so you know what that is. For those of you that don't know, you smash up all these cherries into this wooden bowl there. You just smash them all, and then as you get done, it's like a gooey thing. You just keep throwing it in, yeah, and then you make it like a hamburger patty. There's little tiny sticks that you make from small tree branches, like a willow or even the cherry tree branches. You can make, cut them into small sticks, and then you put this patty on a different rock to dry in the sun. Then you flip it over, and then you put these sticks in there, and then you can dry it some more. So you keep doing this until you've got all your cherries into these patties after you smash them all up with seeds and everything. You smash everything up. Choke cherries, you can eat them raw too, and they're really good. They make your teeth all purple. Look like a bum. But it tastes good. It's really good to eat right when they're ripe, which is usually, I think, the end of July, beginning of August. I think that's when they're ripe. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I went doing that. Then, after it's dried, you store it in the ground. That's your refrigerator kind of thing. And at any time in the winter time or in the summer, if you want to, you boil it. You make it it's like a thick, gravy-like soup, but it's really sweet. You eat this. This is really yummy. Geez, I remember that as a little boy. Today, people, oh my gosh. Today, people will buy canned blueberries, preservatives up the max, up the wazoo, and then they boil that, and then they add pieces of bread. They add that in there, and then they pour a whole bunch of sugar in there and boil that, and then that's today's wojapi. That tastes good too, but it's got sugar in it, and this is not healthy. My memories are of the original wojapi. No sugar. Absolutely no sugar. I think you have to grow up like that. Yeah, you eat it as a little kid. Believe me, when this stuff is boiling, it really smells good. Traditional wojapi really smells good. Like I said, everything is smashed up, the seeds and everything. So you're not going to choke on any seeds or anything like that, or get caught between your teeth. That's not going to happen because they smash it up really good. Yeah. And so traditional wojapi is really good. I still remember that. And I don't think many people make that today, because today everybody puts sugar in everything. As soon as they put sugar in it, it's not traditional. So anyway, that's what wojapi is. So we did have that, and it's really nice when you eat it the old-fashioned way. It's really good. Another kind of dessert we had was deer meat dessert. No, really. It has to be from a dried deer meat. What they do is they pound it up, again with a rock. Yeah, you pound it and pound it and pound it until it's powder. And then you get some cherries, these choke cherries, and you pound the crap out of that too in another bowl. And then the juices and the bits of the meat and all that from the cherries, you put that with the deer meat and you mix it together. And then you put it in a cool place to cool off. That's so it gets kind of hard. And then when it's ready, you cut it up into squares and you eat it. It's like our nature candy bar, the Indian candy bar. No sugar. No sugar. When it's just dried deer meat and these cherries, this is the original thing. But again, today people put sugar in it. And to me, that's not traditional. They put several cups of sugar in these things, and that just defeats the whole purpose. So, anywho, I'm glad I grew up in a time where I experienced the original thing. Because to me, that tastes better. It makes you feel good. Because to me, when I eat the wojapi of today, it's like eating a bunch of chocolate. Yeah, it clogs you up. That's what the word I was looking for. It clogs you up. But like I said, most of the food that we eat today is really not good for us. And when you add in lack of emotional development, then when you have hormones raging, you're really going to get stupid. Yeah? Do you understand? I mean, it's bad enough in the teenage years when the body's producing, what is it, for guys, too much testosterone, and part of the brain literally shuts down. So from 13 or 14 to 16 or something like that, it's really goofy. And then by the time the boy is about 17 or so, it starts to level out, and that brain opens up again. Yeah, so now he can rationalize, can make better decisions. So during this time when the brain is not working, if you're eating nothing but unhealthy food, plus you're not emotionally developed, there goes the neighborhood, basically. So this is the problem of today. So when we're talking about our ancestral time, we didn't have these junk foods. So our foods were natural, and we boiled things, we roasted things. This buffalo meat is really healthy when it's a wild buffalo. In our ancient diets, it's wild game. Everything is wild. It's really, really, really healthy food. But Lakota people do not eat bear meat. Do you know why? Because in Lakota Star Knowledge, it says bears are from the two-legged group, which is where we're from. Seriously. There's a lot of stories that talk about a giant bear that walks upright. So for this reason, all bears are considered two-leggeds. Traditional Lakota people do not eat bear meat. Something to note. Now, I know some Indian tribes do, but that's them. Yeah, that's not us. That's them. Those guys over there. Shoot. Anyway, in our ancient times, when young people are becoming teenagers, see, they're emotionally healthy. They're raised in societies according to their talents. Like when they're little kids, they really watch them to see what their talent is going to be, and whatever it's going to be, the society that focuses on that talent then takes that child and raises it during part of the day, and teaching that child how to develop that talent, whether it's hunting, whether it's making things, whether it's cooking, whatever it is. The older ones with the same talent are helping the younger ones to develop theirs so that the people may live. It's always done in a community way of thinking. So, for example, when young boys are good at hunting, when they get older, they go with the men, but they stand on the side. They stand and watch. They're going to see how it's going to be. And so they slowly get them ready. You just don't throw them in there right away because that might traumatize them. Yeah, so you just do it really slow like that. And then as they get older and more responsible, you give them more responsibilities. And eventually they're out there hunting too. And they're community thinkers, so they know that whatever buffalo they take, it's not just for them, it's for the community. So everybody can eat. It's for everybody. It doesn't just belong to that boy's family. That's the community way. So emotional well-being is so important in this way. And so when you have that and they're eating healthy foods and they're learning to become responsible, shoot, by the time they're 15 years old, they're more emotionally developed than most of today's adults. When I say emotionally developed, that does not mean they control their emotions. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. It means they know how to work through them. That means you have to express them. But you do it as a release, and then you bring your mind in. This is what most people do not do. That's why they don't develop emotionally. They don't bring in their mind. So they start saying, okay, what can we learn from this? How can we make the best out of this situation? They're going to go through a goofy time because this is just how biology is. But the thing is, it wasn't so bad like it is today. The reason why is because of the diets that we have today. And also that today's world, there's next to no emotional development. So when you add these two components together, you're going to end up with one goofy teenager. It's not going to work. So there was something that they did for the young people when they're starting to come to puberty. There's a special thing that they do for them. What did they do to those guys and gals who were coming into puberty? What did they do to them? Yeah, did they throw them in the fire? They take away their Barbies? Let's talk about the boys first. Long time ago, when they're coming to puberty, you can always tell because there's telltale signs physically. They start getting shape a little bit different. Voice is going to change. Body hair is going to appear. Yes, Indians have body hair. A lot of people don't think we do, but we do. May not be the same as other people in the world, but we do. Yeah. Turn on your webcam, I'll show you. I'll just lift up my arm. Shoot. Rugged guy. No, I'm just kidding. When that's happening, the boys do a ceremony that's called Hamblecha. And what this is they go up on a hill for 4 days and 4 nights with no food, no water. And they go up there with a pipe. But you know what? We didn't always have a pipe either. So before we had the pipe, because the pipe has only been here for not even 600 years. Yeah, so we've had the ceremony before that. And it was one of the early ceremonies that we got. We didn't always have the pipe, so that means the ceremony didn't always have it. Nevertheless, you went up there to pray and meditate. What you're going to do is you're going to cry for a vision, and you might get one and you might not. And if you get one, you have to memorize everything that happened. And there's a protocol that it follows. Some people will say, if somebody tells you, yeah, I went in Hamblecha up at Bear Butte, and yeah, when I saw this deer, and it was walking, and it said, howdy, partner. And he said, your magic number is 23, and your sacred color is magenta. Then it turned around and hopped away. And that was my vision. If somebody says that, or anything kind of like that, that's not a vision. That's not a Hamblecha vision. Because there's a protocol that happens, and for those who really experience this, there's something that happens before the vision starts, and there's something that happens when the vision is over. This is the protocol. It's a dream protocol that applies to visions too. It's the same for everybody that has this. There's something that they see that happens before the vision comes, and when the vision's over, there's something they see afterwards too. When you experience these two things, they both have to be there. When you experience them, then you know this is a real vision. And then you have to memorize it as best as you can. You have to remember everything that happened. And then you tell the holy person what you saw. Inside of a sweat lodge, you have to tell them everything. You don't leave one part out, and you don't add anything in. Because if you leave something out, or you add something, or you do both, the vision lost its power. And it's not good anymore. You have to wait another year to try again. But sometimes in the vision, what they see is going to indicate what their name is going to be, because they're going to get an adult name. And so when they complete the ceremony, they now are seen as men. They're not little boys anymore. Yeah? They're seen as men, young men. Because remember what I said, they're really emotionally developed by this time. And they're eating healthy foods. So when the difficult teenage time comes, they have a lot of work to do. So they have all this energy of rebellion that they have is not that strong, because they're emotionally developed and they're eating healthy foods. So everything is flowing nicely inside their bodies. So that rebellious teenage energy is to a minimum. And they're kept busy. They're given a lot of responsibilities. They have lots of work to do. And so they use that energy in the work. So they're releasing it in a constructive way. You see what I mean? That's how they dealt with it. So by the time that period is over and they're starting to rationalize in a healthy way, they made it. They made it through there. Now they're responsible men. See, it's not so difficult because, like I said, they're emotionally healthy and they are eating healthy foods. So during that time, they really have to eat healthy foods. And the reason why they're given a lot of work to do is to exercise, to do lots of running and to work all this energy out in a constructive way. And plus they're making things too. So that's how that worked a long time ago. And if they didn't get a vision, that's okay. That's okay. It's the ceremony itself that is the coming of age. It's facing nature 100% head on, all alone. So it's time for introspection too. You might think of things as well during that time. If a guide doesn't get a vision, it's okay. It doesn't make him any less. What's important is that he did the ceremony. Okay? And then for his adult name, an elder in the group who has the same talent as him may give him his name. So they switch names. So the old man takes the young boy's child name, and now the young boy is becoming a man. Now he's called by that old man's name. That's how they did those things back then. And now he's inducted into a warrior society. And that's a cause for celebration. Now he's one of the men. That's how it worked for boys. Now, I'm not going to go into detail in that ceremony because that's a sacred thing. That's not for the public airwaves, because there's a lot of people out there. Not everybody on the internet is a good person, and people like to copy things and claim it as their own, or they try to do things on their own without proper supervision, and they end up killing themselves in the ceremony. So anyway, that's for boys. For girls, it's really elegant. Yeah, it's really fantastic ceremony. And for their called, it goes by two names. One is called Ishna Cha'awi Chalawampi. They sing over her alone. That's what that means. When they say they sing over her alone, it means she's alone. And the other name is Tatanka Lawampi. It's the same ceremony, but it has two names. There's no reason for that. It's just different groups of people called it by different names, but it was the same ceremony. Okay, now going back to the girls. When she has her first menstruation, they take it and then they wrap it in the buckskin and they tie it in the chokecherry tree. And that's all I'm going to say about that part. But that's significant, okay? That's really significant. Now, when they do this ceremony, again, I'm not going to tell you how to do it, because this is a sacred thing. But it starts at dusk, and it goes all through the night, and it ends at dawn. Dusk and dawn are sacred times, because that's when the world where you live, the energy is regenerating. It's changing. The sunlight is for certain creatures, and the nighttime is for other creatures, other beings. So we share this space together. So the dusk and dawn connect that. Yeah, they get it ready for the next group. You see what I mean? So this is why in ancient Lakota times, when it was dawn, we would pray and we would say, thank you to the beings for taking care of the earth so that we can live, and we will do the same for you. That's why nature is really important to take care of, that we use things in a healthy way and not abuse anything, so that we can keep it for the people who come out when it's nighttime. When I say people, I mean like animals and other beings that live during the nighttime. That's their time. Ours is during the day. We just use the world at a different time. That's another thing. Usually they do this during the moonlight because the moon represents the cycle of the female. The energy is really strong for them, and this is why a long time ago women had moon ceremonies, because the moon is representative of their cycle. For us, it's the sun. During that time, their women are coming in and they're giving this young girl advice on all kinds of things. All her female relatives and holy women are coming to her throughout the night and are going to give her talks and all kinds of information. It's a wonderful thing that happens. She's prepared, her hair is fixed differently, and there's a certain drawing that's put on her face because something happened. It's done in the side of a teepee, and there's something that goes on there in which she becomes a sister to the buffalo. They usually say that girls that go through this, they're called buffalo ladies. They're buffalo women. It's a sacred thing. In this Wakantanka is not God. Okay, it's an organization. Christians changed it to mean God, but it doesn't mean God. The ancient definition is that there's more than one Wakantanka. There's more than one organization that has this name. Dualistic people, right away they want to say, well, which one is the good one? See, that's their tendency. The reality is they just work in different ways. Neither one is more important than the other. They just work in different ways. That's why there's different organizations. But neither one is better than the other. But because of the sacred things they do, that's why they're called Wakantanka. And in one of these groups, there's a buffalo bull, and his responsibility is over the chastity of women. So the ceremony involves this buffalo. That's why I said when it's over, they're called sisters to the buffalo. It doesn't make them better than other girls. It's just like a symbolism. Because every girl goes through that, actually, in ancient times. But it's really a beautiful ceremony. I'm not going to say everything, but one thing I can say is that she's sitting inside this teepee, and all night these women are coming to her and teaching her and telling her things. And when it's over and they paint the lines on her face, usually she gets a new dress. And the old dress is given to her father, and the father throws it. There's a bunch of young girls waiting, because they all want to get this dress because it's a symbol. It means something. Especially if this girl was really a nice girl. Yeah, everybody wants it because, see, your clothes, you leave something in your clothes called trum. It's a part of your soul. So when a girl is really nice and other young girls want to be like her, see, they want this dress so they can have a part of her with them. And they see this in a good way. So that's why they all want to get that dress. So they all run for it, and whoever wins it, they celebrate with them. Because it's a community-thinking society. We always celebrate with the winner, because the winner wins for everybody, not just for themselves. So that people may live. That's always the saying. So that the people may live. So then she gets her new name. This can be done by an old woman who has the same talent as her. And they may exchange names. Or a holy woman might sense something special about this girl. And so they'll give her a name that reflects that. Then they take the teepee down, and she's still sitting there. She has her new dress. Her hair is fixed the woman's way now, and she has this painting on her face. And then they put the teepee back up again. It's the same teepee, yeah? They just put it back up again. Now it's a new home. That means she's not a little girl anymore. And she's a woman. This teepee is hers. Then they present her. She comes out the door, and then the father announces, "This is," and he says her new name. Everybody cheers. This is done at dusk. Everybody cheers, and they have a feast, and it's really joyful. It's a beautiful time. And now she's one of the women. And again, she's given a lot of work, because remember, the teenage years, they have a rebellious nature. But it's not so strong because they're emotionally developed and they're eating healthy foods. So they're given duties that has a lot of physical activity so that they can work this angst out of their bodies. So by the time they're 16 years old, it's all worked out and they're starting to think clearly again. And like I said, they're women. They're now regarded as women. Certain women's societies will induct them into their society. Now they're contributing adult member. That's how it was in ancient times. Too bad we can't go back to something like that. People try, but they have really big difficulty because we're not emotionally developed today. And we're not eating healthy like our ancestors did. That's the problem. So, first step to try to return to that is to become emotionally healthy. And that's what this show is really about, to become emotionally healthy. So we have to get there first. And while we're doing that, we need to be eating healthy. That's why I'm very looking forward to my Spanish grapes tonight. Gosh. But anyway, that's what used to happen a long time ago. That's how they dealt with it. So there weren't teenagers standing around the teepees saying, "Gee, we have nothing to do." Yeah, in ancient times they had work to do, yeah. And they had time to goof off too. You have to have time to goof off. That's important. Remember what I said in other shows, you can't be serious 100% of the time. You've got to goof off. You have to have a goof off time. You can't be 100% serious all the time. If you're 100% serious, you're going to lose your emotional development. There has to be time for laughter, and that's why they have feasts at night after a successful buffalo hunt. Their feasts throughout the night, and their storytellers come out and they start telling stories throughout the night as people are eating and winding down. And there's also singing and dancing happening, and it's really a wonderful time, and people just have fun, and the funny stories come out. And you saw a little bit of that in that movie Dances with Wolves, where this old lady was telling a story and was talking about how her husband was scared of a little tiny buffalo, and he was trying to say, no, it was really big, he said. See, they're having fun. Yeah, you have to laugh. There is a time to laugh, and you have to take it. Otherwise, you lose your emotional well-being. So that's how things used to be. That's all from old Star Knowledge times. To read more about Lakota Star Knowledge spirituality, you can read my book called Wichocha Otechike. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota spirituality videos. You can see the book cover on the screen now. In the description below, there is a link to see my books. As you will notice, it's an eBay link. There's 2 of them, and either one will work. And there you can get the information to get this book. How? Lila Pilamaelo. Thank you very much.